Okay, so Marcel Brands has been at the club for 3 years, so I just thought we could go through sort of like the players that he's got rid of in those 3 years and who he's replaced them with. So start off with the centre-backs. One of the centre-backs he's got rid of is Ashley Williams, who was 34 when Marcel Brands took over. And we've brought in Yerry Mina, who's 27 at the moment. So what do you think? Do you think Marcel Brands has improved the squad?
Yeah, certainly getting rid of Ashley Williams because I think his time was up anyhow.
Yeah, he was 34 at that point.
He's admitted since he's left Everton that he found the challenge too big. Everton was too big a club for him. So there's an element of truth in that. That's you sort of got that feeling that that's the way he played the game, that Everton was too big for him and the pressure got to him.
Yeah. So Yerry Mina, probably our best centre-back.
Yeah, I mean, injuries aside, if you had a fit Yerry Mina in the side every week, I think you'd see a different player than what we've currently got at the moment. He's got the ability. We've seen that at the World Cup. We've seen his great performances for Everton, but he can make mistakes. But if you're not in the side regular, you will make mistakes.
So another defender that Marcel Brands got rid of was, so when he came into the club, Marcel Brands, Phil Jagielka was 36.
Well, I think the answer is there with Phil Jagielka, 36, playing in the Premier League. It's a daunting, it's demanding, and I don't think that he, at that age, would be a top 6 club centre-back. He'd been a great servant for Everton, there's no doubts about that. He was a great player. I enjoyed watching him because he did command the box, but age caught up with him. Yeah.
And one of the players that he's brought in, Marcel Brands, is Ben Godfrey, who's 23 at the moment. So
you could say he's a young Phil Jagielka.
He's got the pace, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got it. I mean, Jagielka was surprisingly fast. I didn't realise how fast he was until all the stats started to come out in the training, that he was the fastest player over 100 metres in the club, you know. So Ben Godfrey, he's got the same thing going for him, and also like Jagielka, he could fill in at the full-back positions as well.
So finally, one of the centre-backs that Marcel Brands got rid of was Funes Mori, and he's brought in Jared Branthwaite.
Well, I don't think, whereas the other two you could compare them like for like, I don't think you can do with them two.
But who would you rather have playing for Everton this season? If you had to, if we were down to the bare bones, would you rather have Funes Mori at 27 or Jared Branthwaite?
Until he makes the Funes Mori mistakes, I'd sooner have Branthwaite.
Okay. So I think centre-backs, I'd say Marcel Brands he's done his best business with the centre-backs. I think all 3 of those that he's got rid of, he's improved. And left-back, Leighton Baines, 33, when Marcel Brands took over.
Yeah.
And he replaced him with Luca Dean pretty quickly, who's 28 now, so...
Well, Luca did. If you're going to go through Marcel Brands as acquisitions, Luca Dean is up there with the top of them. So, yeah, anybody who can take over from Leighton Baines and you don't notice the difference. Now, okay, he was taking over from Leighton Baines at the end of his career. Yeah. Now, whether Luca Dean is as good as Leighton Baines in his prime remains to be seen. But
I think he is. But
well, what we need is a more consistent Everton, because the one thing that Leighton Baines had going for him, because he was under David Moyes, he had a consistent Everton, and the defence was always consistent over David Moyes.
Yeah. I mean, I think the other advantage he had as well is that he had, you know, a young Seamus Coleman on the other side. So now this is where Marcel Brands hasn't done well. He got rid of Cuco Martina, who was 29 when he took over, and he's not brought in a right back.
No. The one thing at Everton now, and it's a glaring thing, is the right back position, because Seamus Coleman, as good as he is getting older. He's not going to play if Everton end up playing with a cup run 45 games maybe this season. He's not going to play in all 45 games. I think you'd be thankful if you could get Seamus Coleman playing for 30 games. You'd be thankful for that, providing he was fully fit, of course. And then the cover's never been dealt with Although I presume the people in the club have got far more faith in John Joe Kenny than what the supporters have.
Yeah, but I mean, Seamus Coleman, he was 29 when Marcel Brands took over. He's had 3 years to sort that out.
We've tried to replace him. You know, Sidibe, Martino, we have tried to replace him or help him. But
Marcel Brands hasn't, because he didn't bring in John Joe Kenny. He was already there when he came in.
No.
So, I mean, I think that's the one thing that Marcel Brands has really failed on, right back, I think.
Yeah, but with the amount of different coaches, you don't know what those coaches are saying to Marcel Brands as the director of football. Because if their priority might not have been right back, we don't know. I don't know what the priority is of Rafa Benitez. Is Rafa Benitez saying, I'm not too concerned about right back because, one, I've got Seamus Coleman, but if Seamus Coleman wasn't playing, I'd go to 3 at the back.
Still, though, I just think...
We need to know that. There's no doubts about that.
One of the sort of duties of a director of football is to, plan the succession of players.
Yes.
So when they get to 30, you're planning who's going to take over from him. And he's had 3 years, and
he
I don't want to go into it again, but I think that's a big fail. Let's go on to midfield. Uh-huh. This is... midfield. Okay, so Ghana guy. He was 29 when Marcel Brands took over. Mm-hmm. He's replaced him with Alan, who's 30, so pretty much like for like there.
Well, he was replaced with Gambian, wasn't he, originally?
Gabamin, yeah.
But the problem there is...
I'm going to compare Gabamin to James McCarthy just because of the injury record.
Yeah, okay.
So Morgan Schneiderlin, he got rid of him. He was 29 when Marcel Brands came into the club. And he's replaced him with Gomez, who's 28.
Yeah.
I think they're very similar, frustrating players.
Post-injury, for Gomez, yes, yeah. I would say so, yeah. Up until that point, he came originally on loan, and Everton supporters were pleading with Everton to make the deal permanent.
Yeah, I was one of them, and I regret it now, but...
Yeah, but this is, one of the things that happens in football.
I think Everton fans were pleased with signing Morgan Schneiderlin as well, but it just turned out the same sort of...
Again, but it all depends the sort of what he's told to do. And he was told where his position lay in the team and what he had to do. And you can say that his stats probably stack up quite well as regards to... Schneiderlin, yeah. But the problem being is that for the fan sat in the stands...
Oh, yeah, it's frustrating.
It's frustrating, yeah.
It's just those sideways passes and the back passes. And...
Yeah, well, that's why his stats stack up good, isn't it? Because his pass completion is probably near perfect.
And if that's Gomez is similar, isn't he? The sideways passing and the back passing... Last year, especially. I mean,
but
he just didn't go forward, did he?
He didn't go forward.
But there was no one to pass to last year, so I suppose you can excuse him.
The problem that we had last season...
No one was moving, were they?
No,
whereas we've got a lot of movement now with Damari Gray and...
Well, we're only 3 Premier League games into the season, so it's a little bit too early to say that. But what does seem apparent now is that we are now getting the ball forward quicker, which will help the type of player that we've got in the forward positions. Obviously, everybody looks at Owobi, and for the last 2 seasons now he's frustrated. Whereas this season, everybody's starting to think that there's a player in there because he's allowed to do what he does best.
I remember the same thing with Morgan Schneiderlin, though. Every time we got a new manager, you'd think, he seems to be getting the best out of Morgan Schneiderlin now, and it was always a false dawn, wasn't it?
Yeah, but this is the problem that we've had is that we've got a lot of good players and we've got some very good players, but what we haven't had is a style of football that suits those players.
So James McCarthy, he moved him out. He actually broke his leg a few months before Marcel Brands took over, and he's replaced him with Gabamin, who...
Similar injury record. And we've all got to say that we haven't got an opinion as to whether Gabamin, he's a bad buyer because of his injury record, but that can happen to any player, so that's unfair to judge him just on that. But we don't know how good he is because it wasn't as if it was his 22nd game for Everton that he had an injury. It was his 2nd game for Everton, so nobody has got any idea just how good he can be. So and I suppose he is the proverbial, he's like a new signing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was the right profile of player as well. He was young, he was athletic, strong, looked like he had a bit of pace, could run with the ball. But we've just not seen him, have we?
No, not seen enough of him to make any sort of judgment at all.
Now, this is where Marcel Brands has done well with midfield. We finally got rid of Mo Besic, and Marcel Brands has replaced him with Abdoulaye Doucouré, who has just been fantastic for Everton, hasn't he?
I've watched Doucouré quite a few times for Watford, and a few times when he played against us at Goodison, and he was a box-to-box midfield player, and you often thought, wow, you know, if we had a player like that in our team, you just watch us go forward. Beginning of last season, that's just exactly what he did. Beginning of this season, just exactly what he's doing. As you say, when we get into 10 games, 15 games into the season, we'll find out whether that carries on. It didn't last season, but was that the player or was that the tactics from the coach?
Well, we were just so heavily reliant on him last year that we just had to play him every game, didn't we?
Our season went off
injured, which everyone could see coming.
Yeah, the season went off the cliff edge when he'd been playing apparently for a few weeks with the injury. And we'd started to wane a little bit then. But then once he was out the team injured, it was a long time before we won a game afterwards, wasn't it? So
Yeah. And he did come back at the end of the season, but he obviously wasn't fully fit.
No. No, if we can get a fully fit him, a fully fit Gambian, and a fully fit Gbamin, and a fully fit Allen, that core in the central midfield takes care of itself.
Just to recap, I mean, I think he's done great with the centre-backs, replacing them, getting the old centre-backs out, bringing in younger centre-backs who are better. Leighton Baines, replaced him with Luca Dean. And then the midfield, the only decent midfielder that he inherited really was Garner Gay.
Yes.
And he's replaced that midfield with Allen and Doucouré.
Yeah.
And both of them, I'd say they're up there with Garner Gay.
Yeah. I think, as you said at the beginning, a problem area, and it still is a problem area because we haven't been able to see our best players all fit at the same time. And I think it's not that we've not got the players, I just think that we've not been able to put the personnel out on the pitch at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, I did miss off. He also got rid of David Klassen and Vlasic, and he's brought in Delph. But I think all three of those, you wouldn't notice if they were in the squad or not, would you?
No. Well, I mean...
So, wingers. Got rid of Theo Walcott, Yannick Bolasie left the club, and Lookman. All three of those went out, and Marcel Brands has brought in Damari Gray, Townsend, and Alex Iwobi.
The difference being, obviously, is the amount of money that was paid for each player.
Well, that's where Marcel Brands has done really well, because obviously, in terms of value for money, Andros Townsend, it's only a 2-year contract, so if he wasn't any good and it didn't work out, you're only stuck with his wages for 2 years. But his wages are a lot lower than Theo Walcott's anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, he was free, whereas Theo Walcott was like £20 million. So, I mean, in terms of value for money, Andros Townsend looks like an upgrade.
Yes, certainly. Yeah. At this moment in time, if he carries on and he doesn't get an injury, I would say so.
So, Yannick Bolasie, should we compare him to Damari Gray?
Yeah, I would say so, because they both have the same strengths, don't they, which is that they're fast, have an eye for goal. I would say on the evidence that we've seen up to now, Damari Gray has got a better eye for goal. And Yannick Bolasie, whether, again, are you playing to tactics, are you playing to orders? But he never did them runs that were from the wing to the centre, whereas Damari Gray does. Probably the fact that Gray's on the other side, isn't he? But I would say, if you were going to ask me out of those two players, which was the £30 million player, I would say Gray.
Yeah. Again, in terms of value for money, Damari Gray is definitely an upgrade. And what about Lookman and Iwobi?
Yeah, I think that is a fair comparison, really. Lookman, at times, because he was at Fulham last season, and I watched Fulham with interest because he was there. Also, that Robinson, the fullback, who'd come from Everton. So when you watch Fulham, and I watched Luckham, but he did for Fulham what he did for Everton, which was that he was frustrating.
Yeah, well, Alex Iwobi.
Well, Alex Iwobi, you could put it in the bracket of being doubly frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, because if what you believe the players say, they say that one, he's one of the fastest in the club, and two, he's the most skillful in the club. And all you want as a fan in the stands is him to show that out on the pitch. Obviously not going to do it for 90 minutes, otherwise he'd be in the Ronaldo bracket, and he's certainly not in that. But it does look this season, because of the formation and the way that Benitez has got us going onto the front foot quicker, that it does suit him. And he's now picking up these balls and he's running at teams. And, okay, he loses the ball. I've watched you mainly come on as a substitute, and he does lose the ball. But he's now losing the ball in an area that's not putting us under pressure.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
But in terms of value for money, I mean, Alex Iwobi has been a big flop for Marcel Brands, hasn't he?
At this moment in time, you would have to say that Alex Iwobi, if you put Alex Iwobi alongside Andrew Townsend and said, which one of these cost £30 million, you wouldn't say Alex Iwobi.
Oh, definitely comparing him to Damari Gray.
Yeah. And you can probably make, although Damari Gray didn't cost that amount of money, but yeah.
But then again, I mean, you're not going to get, no manager gets every signing right, do they? They all make mistakes.
I remember Howard Kendall when he used to say, for every 3 signings you make, you want one to be a rip-roaring success, 2 to do a job, and the third one, try and get your money back.
Yeah. And I watched a YouTube video about Liverpool signing since Klopp took over, and when you go through the sign, everyone goes on about how great he is at signing players, but he got a lot of flops as well.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go on to the forwards. Marcel Brands, when he came into the club, Wayne Rooney, 32, got rid of him.
Yeah.
Compare him to James Rodriguez now, and I'd rather have a 32-year-old Wayne Rooney.
Well, I think what you've seen is the comparison is that Rooney was asked to give up his play in the team for the team, and he did that. Whereas James Rodriguez, I mean, we don't know the inside story.
See what happens,
but we will now see, now that, although apparently he can still go to South America because their window's still open, so you never know.
Okay.
But there's, I don't think they've got the money to pay him. He certainly, by the sounds of it, is not doing what Willian did at Arsenal, which is to say, right, just tear up my contract and I'll go and give up all the money. I think if he did that, a lot of Evertonians would have far more respect for him if he did that. Or the other thing could be that he's waiting in the wings for his chance to prove everybody just what a good player he is. And if he does that, Everton win either way. If he ripped up his contract,
it depends what his attitude is, isn't it? I mean, if he's got the right attitude, then he would be a super sub, wouldn't he? It'd be like when David Moyes first took over and he used to bring on Wayne Rooney for the last 20 minutes, or he'd bring on Duncan Ferguson for the last 20 minutes, and it just, you could just see the opposition centre-backs just gulping as they came on the pitch. It'd be the same with James, wouldn't it?
It certainly would be, because what you're doing is, especially for home matches, it gives the fans a lift as well.
Yeah.
And that you're bringing them on, maybe because you're hanging on to a lead, or you're drawing, and you're going for that extra goal to win the game, or you're getting beat and you're out of the game, and suddenly it gets the fans on your side because you're bringing somebody like that on. And I think if that's what it was, because I think if we could get 25 games out of James Rodriguez this season, and that would add 25 games, either playing for the first hour or coming on for the last half an hour. What a bonus that would be.
So forwards, like I said, Wayne Rooney, 32, Oumar Niasse and Sandro.
Yeah.
Marcel Brands got rid of those 3.
Yeah.
He's brought in Richarlison, 24, James Rodriguez, is he 29, 30 now?
Yeah, he's touching 30, yeah.
And Rondon, 31.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's an improvement. Richarlison James and Rondon compared to Rooney at 32, Niasse and Sandro.
Oh, so certainly the latter two, Niasse and Sandro. I mean, slowly but surely, like Marcel Brands, if you look at his job as a director of football, because what most supporters think of director of football is that he goes out and he looks at these players and he brings them in, and he brings in players that you've never heard of, and we pay $1 million, $2 million, and then suddenly they become a star. I'm not going to say a superstar, but they certainly become a star, and the value becomes 10 million, 20 million. I don't think he's done that side of it.
Apart from Damari Gray.
But at this moment in time, Damari Gray.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's done that side of it, not on a regular basis.
No.
But apparently he's been involved since he's been at Everton in over 120 deals now. Right. If you look at the season just gone now, since the end of May last season, 22 players have left the club.
Yeah.
5 of them have gone out on loan.
Okay.
But we've said goodbye to 17. Some of them are youngsters that never made the first team. Right. But if his job in the background, I think he's done that job in the background. Because, he is lightening the wage bill, which was obviously an horrendous wage bill that we've got. We're paying the price for it now. I think maybe Everton are overstating the financial situation as this profitability and loss with the Premier League. I think Everton is sort of milking that a little bit. But I think that this season, what we needed to do was all right, if we were going to bring in a player that we thought, wow, he's a signing. If we were going to go out and
more Alex Iwobi panic buys.
No. All that seems to have gone out the window now. And we've brought 5 players in this window. I only really count it as 4 players because 2 of them were goalkeepers.
Yeah, I don't count the goalkeepers.
Because all we've done with the goalkeepers is replace like for like, apart from the fact that 2 have come in and Virginia's gone out, who's a young goalkeeper, and we've replaced him with a veteran goalkeeper. But he's our 3rd choice goalkeeper, and that's what he's been brought in.
So we brought in Damari Gray, Andros Townsend, and Salomon Rondon. So we just brought 3 players in.
Yeah. And I think our squad is stronger now than what it was last season.
Compared to last season, when you look at the players who went out, which is Bernard, who didn't really play for us, Mo Besic and Yannick Balassi, I think did they leave in the summer as well?
Yeah, all their contracts,
Look at those 3 that went out who never really played for us last year. And Moise Keane as well, he didn't play for us either, did he? And then we brought in Damari Gray, Townsend and Salomon Rondon. I think and they're 3 players that will get a lot more first team football than the 3 that went out.
Well, Moise Keane, that was one of the
doesn't matter because he didn't play for us last year and he's not playing for us this year.
No, but he was brought in because we thought that we'd bought like...
I remember that summer, before we bought Moise Keane in, I said, I hope that we don't bring in like a ready-made striker, someone who's 26 or something, because then Calvert-Lewin wouldn't get a game and it'd stop his progression. And I remember saying, I hope we just get like a young striker who can put a bit of pressure on Calvert-Lewin, but he's not going to take his, he's not going to completely block his progression. I think he, in the same way that the goalkeeper last year put pressure on Pickford and made him a better goalkeeper, I think that's what Moise Keane did to Calvert-Lewin. I think that's what really, that's where you saw Calvert-Lewin take the next step. When we brought Moise Keane in, he got that pressure on him. And that's when he started banging in the goals.
Well, if that's the case, then you can say that the Moise Keane was a good deal. He went out on loan last season, and then in January we brought in Josh King, and that was obvious that He was not favoured by Ancelotti, but by the amount of times he used him. He was playing without a forward in a couple of games rather than play him. So it was obviously that he didn't fancy him. And now we've replaced King came in for Keane, and now Rondon's come in well, you couldn't say for both of them. And I think that he would actually be a better fit to Everton.
Oh, God, yeah.
Now, because, all right, he's at the end of his career. And we're not going to get any sell-on value, but we, by all accounts, we haven't had to pay a fee for him. So if we're not had to pay a fee, and he's come in, and he is going to be the guy that steps, if this Calvert-Lewin injury carries on, he'd be the guy to step in for him. That's
we
fine.
needed that, didn't we? We really needed
but
that.
At the moment, I don't think that he would be, because I think we could move Richarlison into the middle. He would only come into the team once the likes of Townsend, Gray.
Yeah, you're picking up a few injuries.
Yeah, when you start to pick up injuries, then you could say, no, we've still got a target man, so why not use him? The way that we wouldn't use Josh King.
I mean, I'd play 4-4-2, Richarlison and Rondon up front if Calvert-Lewin's injured.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, he's an outlet. We know that he can score goals in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Right, because he's done that in the past. His career record is 1 in 3, and he's not been playing for top-class teams. So he comes to Everton with the supply line that Everton's currently got, and you never know. He could come into the team and put Calvert-Lewin under pressure in the short term, which would be a good thing, because if he was starting a game and then Calvert-Lewin was finding out that he wasn't straight back into the team, then it gives him more to... We've got a World Cup coming up, and we've got a lot of players.
And Calvert-Lewin, the past 2 seasons, he started off great. And then because we're playing him every game, 90 minutes, second half of the season, he just drops off a cliff because he's just not getting a rest.
So he's not getting a rest, and he's also
playing through injuries.
But he's doing the job for the team. And that one thing that you can say about Calvert-Lewin is that he's prepared to do a job for the team. Since the very first game that he came into the Everton first team, and he was playing wide on the right and he was playing wide on the left, he was prepared to do a job for the team. His stats look terrible for a centre forward.
Well, I remember when he first came into the team, and you said he reminded you of Graham Sharp.
Graham Sharp certainly did.
When Graham Sharp was just starting off.
It was the same enthusiasm, but things wouldn't fall for them, and it made you think, what have we bought this fella for? But then you could see the progression. I watched the progression of Graham Sharp, and he got better and better. And then obviously his best days was when Andy Gray come into the club, because Andy Gray took him on another gear, and Calvert-Lewin is doing that all on his own. But he's playing up front. He's lucky, Calvert-Lewin, because he's playing up front with Richarlison. And for all Richarlison's faults, the one thing that he'll do is generally, 9 times out of 10, is work his socks off for the team. Yeah. And if you're a centre forward and the guy who's alongside you is prepared to work his socks off and chase lost causes, it makes your job easier.
Yeah, so let's conclude then. Yeah. I mean, it's a rhetorical question, but so do you think Marcel Brands has improved the squad that he inherited?
Have Everton improved as a squad since Marcel Brands took over?
Yeah.
Yes. Has Everton improved as a team since Marcel Brands took over? No. And that is because we've had too many coaches with too many styles of play.